Dear Al, I'm reaching out to you because we have an issue with our pool, and during my search for answers, I found your YouTube videos. We are in the middle of building a concrete pool. It was shotcreted in November, and the tile and coping and decking are now all done. We have a small tanning ledge. It was supposed to be bigger, and it is the only way to get into the pool. There are 2 sets of steps on either side of it, but they are the next step down after the ledge. The issue is the step into the pool from the deck is 18 inches. It is too deep and not safe. It would also leave us with 13.5 inches of water, and we'd prefer 9 to 10. To correct this, our pool builder wants to drill and dowel rebar into the side of the wall and make holes in the floor of the ledge to find the rebar in the shell, attach a rebar to the existing rebar in the shell, and bond it to the equipotential grid as well. Do they need to do that, or can they drill and dowel the rebar without attaching it to the rebar in the shell? The pool builder only wants to add 3 inches of shotcrete. We would like at least 4 to help with the step, which would also make the water more shallow. He's also worried about the water level going too low during winterization. How much shotcrete can they safely add?
Okay, so I have the somewhat perfect solution for this. While I agree, drill into the wall of the pool and pound your rebar in there. And what I would do, instead of find the rebar in the sun shelf and try to get an equipotential grid pinned together, what I would do is go with a gator bar. Gator bar is basically a fiberglass reinforced, it's string fiber actually, so it's non-conductive. They could use that as your matting instead of your steel rebar. Use the gator bar. Then they could just pound down into the sun shelf to epoxy stubs up and tie to that in several places, and then safely you could shoot 3 or 4 inches. I, like you, would prefer 4 inches of water in there versus 3 inches, or 4 inches more of concrete versus 3 inches. Not only that, you still probably want them to form a bit of a step, because you said it's 18 inches down now. Even with 4 inches of shotcrete put in there and then a little bit for plaster, you're still more than 12 inches. The code is going to require no more than a 12-inch step down. Now, if that was separate from a set of steps, then you wouldn't need that additional, but you need a 12-inch step from the top of your coping to the first step is 12 inches. To the rise of the run of the step is 12 inches. So I would say, even if you put 4 inches in there, I would suggest they shoot a step somewhere, split the difference. If you come up 4 inches, that's now 14 to the top of the coping. I would add a small step somewhere that gives you 7 and 7 down to the sun shelf, because I think you're asking for trouble if you're going to have people step. A 14-inch step is a really awkward step when someone doesn't know what they're doing, and it's not to code. So you have to put some kind of a step in there, number one. And number two, have them use gator bar instead of steel, and that way you don't have to ground it or bond it to the equipotential grid. I think that would be an easier solution. The key is to make sure that they get that sun shelf after they do all the drilling and epoxying and doweling those things in. Make sure they get it super clean so that the new shotcrete will attach to it. You may even want them to spray down concrete adhesive. They wouldn't be able to roll it on because you'll have a grid in place, but what they could probably do is use a pump sprayer and spray that. You let that tack up, or you let that set up before you shoot your concrete over the top of it, and in that case I think they'll bond it pretty well.